Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another video on the channel, where today we have got a pretty special video where we're going to be hopefully explaining to you how you can get yourself maximum points on legendary squad battles. It is a pretty great guide, so hopefully you guys will enjoy it. If you do enjoy the content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It would be much appreciated. Make sure you do follow us on Twitter as well, as we will get around to answering all your questions that you have maybe about this video or any other videos we have. Make sure you do go and drop us there, and also make sure you do follow us on Twitch, as we do want to stream eventually, so it'd be really appreciated if you could drop us a follow. So without further ado, moving into this guide. Now obviously, as a lot of people know, the legendary squad battles this year has been made a little bit more tricky, and it's definitely trickier than it has been in previous years. But starting off, what you would like to know is obviously I want to show you guys what you might be interested in when it comes to top 100 or top 200 as it is now squad battles. What you want to really be aiming to get, which is the 5 goals, the clean sheet, the 10 corners, the 10 shots on target, the 80% pass accuracy, and possession. They're really the things you want to be aiming for. If you're aiming for top 200, the goals are so important. You need them. The clean sheets, you need that in pretty much every game as well. And the corners are kind of more important if you want to be getting sort of top 50, but the main focus is the goals and the clean sheet. You can see we won a game here 5-0. Just to kind of illustrate the point, what your sort of end of stats should be looking like. Obviously, shots on target not quite at 10, possession a little bit low. They do kind of hog the ball a lot this year, but the pass actually was good. We also managed to get 5 corners as well, which really did help us out. And you can see in the end how many points we got. You can see in the end we managed to bag ourselves 2,651 points. So a pretty nice haul there. You can see that's normally about enough. If you're aiming for sort of top 200, you need to average about 2,400 points kind of along your 40 games. So 2,651 is above the threshold. But that was playing against a team like this, a bronze kind of real bog standard team. So pretty easy to beat a team like this. And that's pretty much max points you'll be able to get. Now, if you're someone who's aiming for Elite 1, which I think most people are probably going to be aspiring to get, like myself, I try and get myself Elite 1 as quick as possible and try and do it in as little amount of games as possible. And to do that, 5 goals, again, is really important. You definitely want to be trying to get 5 goals in every game if you can. The clean sheet is important, only really if you're trying, like me, if you're trying to get it as quick as possible, then the clean sheet is important. You want to try and get the clean sheet in as many games as you can. The shots on target and the corners, not really that important. It's kind of, if you've got the 5-0 and you're pretty certain you're going to get the clean sheet, then you can just start taking shots from distance and hoping the keeper can parry it for a corner, and then you kind of get best of both worlds, but they're not super important. Again, example like this, 5-1. This is more than enough if you're somebody who's trying to get Elite 1. It's crazy that we actually managed to get pretty much the same sort of pass accuracy, possession shots, and shots on target in this game. Just we didn't get the corners or the clean sheet in this game. But you can see we still managed to bag ourselves 2,481 points, which even at that figure, that would still be enough to probably get yourself top 200. And that was against a team like this, so a much better team, which is why we were able to get some slightly higher points, even with some less results. Another thing that's really important, if you do want to turn off the competitor mode, you do need to go into your game settings on the main menu. And if you go into your game settings, there'll be an option to turn off the competitor mode. You definitely want to turn this off because this is really difficult. This is like playing a pro, so that's how you turn the competitor mode off. But now going into some of our tips on how to get yourself these squad battle points and maximize the amount you can get. You make sure, number one, tip one, you want to make sure you've got a competitive team. This is the team that I'm currently rolling with. Now you might look at that and think that's not a competitive team. You don't need as good a team if you are a better player. I consider myself a decent player, so a team like this will be able to beat most of the teams that are around at the minute. What I mean by a competitive team is you want to make sure that your team is similar to the teams that you're playing. You've already seen a couple of the teams that we were up against, and the team that I've currently got is kind of comparable with the teams that I'm playing against. You saw the team that we just previously beat to get around about 2,500 points. My team is kind of similar to that, so you just need to make sure that your team is no worse than what you're playing. These top end teams that you can see right here are going to be a little bit tricky, so you will need a better team for that, but just make sure your team is around what you're playing. It's really, like I said, it's really important that you have a competitive team, because you don't want to go into a game, you know, undergunned or anything like that. Like I said, you've seen in a couple of these examples how we're just able to easily play around the AI, and we'll get into a few other tips on things you can do in the game. But like I said, first and foremost, it's just really important that you do have a competitive team and you don't go into the game undergunned. Now, tip number 2 is to have an attacking and a defensive custom tactic. Now, this is really, really important. You can see on the screen, which is what my attacking custom tactic is in quotes, which we play on press on possession loss. It's essentially the 4-2-2-2 custom tactics that we used yesterday, as the 4-2-2-2 is my favorite formation. So it's exactly the same custom custom tactics and instructions that we used in that video yesterday. So you can go and copy those if you want to use those. But that's what I use for my attacking. That's pretty much what I use from game number 1 when I try and obviously get the goal as quick as possible. And it's really, really important that you have a defensive custom tactic, which for me is still in the 4-2-2-2. It's just I've taken off the press, I've gone to possession on the offensive style, because you don't want to like play drop back or anything like that and invite loads of pressure, because the AI, they will, the way they are, they every now and again they do just kind of get a real dodgy goal. So it's really important that you still want to be on top and attacking, but just maybe not as attacking as you were at the beginning of the game. Now, tip number 3 is to be patient in defense. If you get the first goal, you will get 5 goals. That is probably the best tip I think you can take away from this video. The reason why it's important to get the first goal, the AI this year, they really hog the ball. I'm sure you guys, if you guys have played squad battles, you'll already know this, especially on Legendary, but they do a really good job. You've already seen in some of the statistics that, we were out possessioned by the AI, which is quite rare for me personally, because I tend to have about 65% when I play against people. So it's really, really important that you are patient in your defense. Like we said in our defending tutorial as well, you don't want to be diving into tackles and even playing on a press can be a little bit pointless. I know we play on it. It's just the way that I like to play. It's just kind of how I play anyway. But it's really important that you are patient, because counterattacks in this game, especially playing against the AI, are so overpowered. Not necessarily so much against people, but especially against the AI, because once you get the first goal, the AI, they go on like this really high press and they try and press you really high up the pitch. So the counterattacks just become so easy and just become your best friend. They're the easiest way to score. You can see how many players the AI has got up the pitch, and then just 2 passes straight through to Caputo and we're able to score a counterattack. So it's really important you get the first goal, because once you get the first goal, AI will just press you, and it just becomes really easy to pick them apart and get the goals on the counter. Last but not least, tip number 4 is the fake shot skill move and also quick tiki-taka passing. Now, in terms of skill moves, they're not super effective against AI. Now, the fake shot still does work, but it's definitely not as effective as it was last year. The fake shot is still a great skill move to use now and then. But in previous years, you'd use the fake shot and the defense would literally stand there for a second or two and you'd just be able to walk around them. Not quite as effective as that this year, but it still does, it's still probably the most effective skill move. It does kind of give you half a yard here and there. But really, you can see in a lot of the clips and a lot of the goals we're scoring, we're not really using any skill moves. This is a great example of, you can see how high up the pitch the AI is pressing us, and we're just able to ping this ball out to Florenzi, and then you can just see how easy it is now we're able to counter because they've got so many players at the top end of the pitch, and it just becomes really, really easy. But quick, simple passing is enough to beat the AI, especially once you've got the first goal. You don't really need too many skill moves. There aren't too many skill moves this year, I think, even against people, that are really that effective. I think just quick tiki-taka passing and just kind of mixing up your play, sometimes counter-attack, sometimes going down the wing, is more than enough to beat them. Like I said, it's really simple just to play just simple through balls through the defense once you've got that first goal, because they're so high up the pitch. So the best tip is really just to score the first goal. After that, it becomes pretty easy. Once you've got your 5 goals, you then just kind of need to not sit back, but just sort of take the 5-goal lead that you've got, and it will be pretty easy sailing from there. So that is it for this video. So hopefully you did find it useful. Hopefully you can take a few tips away from this video and they will help you out, and hopefully help you get maximum points in squad battles, because I know some people think squad battles this year is that difficult. From my opinion, so far, from what I've played, it doesn't seem to be as tricky as some people are making it out to be. If you turn off the competitor mode, it seems pretty similar to last year. So hopefully you guys have taken some tips away from this video and hopefully do much better. But that is it for the video, guys. So if you do want to, make sure you hit that subscribe button, it will be much appreciated. Make sure you drop a thumbs up as well, it will be much appreciated as well. As always, do follow us on Twitter and Twitch, and we'll get around to answering your questions as quick as possible. But that is all for today, guys. Have an awesome day. I'm out.